Tonight was supposed to be my night. The annual gala for Sutton Innovations, a celebration of landing a multi-billion-dollar defense contract. As the chief engineer and the chairman's son-in-law, I should have been standing at the center of the stage, soaking in applause. Instead, I was standing in the shadows like a joke. I watched my wife, Claire, walk into the spotlight. Her arm wasn't linked with mine. It was wrapped tightly around another man, Ethan Cole, her ex-boyfriend from college. A man I once trusted. A man I once called a friend. The suit I was wearing, custom-tailored, expensive. She'd picked it out for me that very morning. "Leo," she'd said with a smile, "you're the hero tonight. You have to look the part." Now I understood. Looking the part just made the fall more humiliating. Claire's voice rang out through the ballroom, crisp and confident, amplified by the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our new chief engineer, Ethan Cole, a top Harvard graduate and an old, dear friend of mine." Polite applause followed. She paused, her gaze drifting across the crowd, until it landed on me. The warmth I once knew was gone. What replaced it was cold calculation and something else. Disgust. Then she spoke again, lips painted a deep, unforgiving red. "As for Leo Vance," the room went silent. "This company has carried dead weight for long enough. We need talent with a world-class pedigree. Effective immediately, Mr. Vance will no longer hold any position at Sutton Innovations." Right on cue, a document appeared in her hand. My termination notice. Signed by her. The head of HR, eager to please, rushed onto the stage and took the paper from her like it weighed 1,000 pounds. He walked toward me slowly, each step echoing in the silence. Every eye in the room was on me. I felt it all: pity, smug satisfaction, contempt, and the sick excitement people get when someone else's life falls apart. Whispers cut through the air. I always said he was nothing without the Sutton family. He was just a freeloader. Didn't he land the defense contract himself? This is cold even for them. Ethan's Harvard. He and Claire are the real power couple. Leo was just a stepping stone. Dead weight. Dead weight. I almost laughed. For 3 years, I'd lived like a dog. My father-in-law, Robert Sutton, never hid his contempt. My mother-in-law criticized everything, even how much steak I took at dinner. At work, I was the man who married his way in. No one respected me. No one except Claire. Or so I thought. And I endured all of it. For her. For our vows. I swallowed every insult and buried myself in the lab. Day and night. I poured everything I had, everything I learned at MIT, into that company. 126 personal patents. Every one of them mine. I signed the usage rights over for free, transforming a failing family workshop into an industry star. That defense contract? My final gamble. I lived at the factory for 3 straight months. Oversaw every technical detail. Optimized hundreds of production protocols. Wrote a 5,000-page technical proposal with my own hands. And it worked. Sutton Innovations crushed the competition. I thought finally I could stand tall. I never imagined my own wife would be the one to stab me in the back. She used the empire I built as a signing bonus for her ex. And I became disposable. The HR manager stood in front of me now, head bowed. "Mr. Vance, this was Miss Sutton's decision." I didn't take the paper. My eyes locked onto Claire. She stood beside Ethan, smiling politely, like I was a stranger. Ethan met my stare and smirked. That's when I felt it. Calm. The kind that comes when something inside you finally dies. I stepped past HR and walked onto the stage. The crowd held its breath. Claire leaned in, irritation flashing in her eyes. "Leo, don't embarrass yourself. Just leave with some dignity." I ignored her. I took the microphone. My voice was steady. "First, congratulations to Miss Sutton," I said. "Not on finding a new man, but on welcoming back an old one and getting a multi-billion-dollar contract at a bargain." Her face darkened instantly. Ethan reached for the mic. "You're drunk. Get off the stage." I sidestepped him. "Not yet, Mr. Cole." I looked out at the room. The core technologies behind that defense contract. the dynamic stress analysis for composite materials, the adaptive gyroscopic calibration algorithms, the infrared AI guidance system. I paused. All 126 patents are registered under my name. Claire turned white. They were never transferred. Sutton Innovations only had a free licensing agreement. I looked straight at her. That agreement ended the moment my termination notice became effective. Silence. In other words, starting now, every product Sutton manufactures using my technology is patent infringement. I placed the microphone back gently. Good luck. I walked off the stage. Claire reached for me. One look for me made her recoil. "Leo," she screamed. I didn't turn back. Outside, under the cold night sky, I made a call. "Is your offer still available?" A pause. Then laughter. "Of course. CTO position. 5% founding shares. Unlimited research budget. The seat was always yours." "Done," I said. "And I'm bringing my patents." Claire ran out after me. "You can't do this." "Yes, I can. You lived off my family." I laughed. "How much value did I create? How much money did I give you?" The guest room I slept in was smaller than the maid's quarters. She had no answer. Ethan tried to intervene. "You're jeopardizing the company." "With you," I said coldly. "A theorist who's never held a wrench." I leaned in. "Those patents are interconnected. Without me, you won't even know where to start." I walked away. At the house, I packed in 10 minutes. There was barely any trace of me. When I pulled my suitcase out, Claire, Ethan, and Robert Sutton were waiting. It feels less like a conversation and more like an interrogation. Robert Sutton sits across from me, chairman of Sutton Innovations. Late 50s. Sharp, calculating eyes that have always looked down on me. From the very beginning, he despised me, his penniless son-in-law, who married up. Right now, his face is almost purple with rage. "Leo, are you finished with this tantrum?" he snaps, slamming his coffee mug onto the table. The crack echoes through the room. "Leave your things here and go back to the office. We'll pretend tonight never happened." He leans back, arrogance dripping from every word. "I'll even apologize to you publicly. I'll reinstate you. I can't help it." I laugh. "Mr. Sutton," I say calmly, "I think you got it backwards. I'm not the one begging here." "You?" "Begging," he sputters, his mustache trembling. "You." "Dad, don't waste your breath on him." Claire stands up. She's changed out of her evening gown into a sweatsuit, but there's nothing soft about her now. Her eyes are colder than I've ever seen them. "Leo," she says, "I'm asking you one last time. Are you giving us the patents or not?" "No," I answer immediately. Her lips curl. "Fine. Just fine. You really think Sutton Innovations will collapse without you? Ethan is 100 times more capable than you. We'll solve the technical problems in no time. Is that so?" I glance at Ethan. He's been silent this whole time, sitting stiffly on the sofa. His face is pale, almost sickly. "Mr. Cole," I say casually, "why don't you tell me, right now? For the third stage of heat treatment on the K17 composite material, what's the peak temperature on the curve?" Ethan's lips part. Nothing comes out. "It's a process I invented. No one else knows it. What's wrong?" I scoff. "Cat got your tongue?" I straighten and grab my suitcase. That defense contract carries a breach penalty big enough to bankrupt Sutton Innovations twice over. I say lightly. "Good luck, Claire." I head for the door. "Leo," her voice cracks, desperation bleeding through. "Are you really going to be this cruel? Do our 3 years of marriage mean nothing to you?" "Marriage." I stop, but I don't turn around. "To me, it was once priceless," I say quietly. "To you, it wasn't even worth as much as a chief engineer position. The moment you chose him and humiliated me in front of everyone, it became worthless." I open the door and walk out. Behind me, porcelain shatters. Then come Claire's hysterical sobs. I feel nothing. She's the one who broke everything between us. The next morning, I arrive at Apex Dynamics headquarters. Ava Chun is already waiting in the lobby. She's wearing a sharp white pantsuit, her long hair pulled into a ponytail. Confident, focused, radiating energy. "Welcome to Apex, Leo," she says, extending her hand with a genuine smile. I believe the title is CTO now, I reply, shaking her hand. She laughs softly. My mistake. Mr. CTO, this way. She gives me a full tour, ending at a massive corner office with floor-to-ceiling glass walls. This is yours, she says. Your lab is next door. Top-of-the-line equipment. Unlimited resources. If you need anything, just say the word. I look out at the river below, then back at the office. At least 10 times the size of the one I had at Sutton. A strange mix of emotions hits me. Aren't you worried I'll just take your investment and walk away? I ask. I don't trust blindly, Ava says, eyes bright. But I trust results. A man who can turn a failing family workshop into a company capable of challenging Apex in 3 years? I trust my judgment. She smiles playfully. Besides anyone who can make Claire Sutton, that furious must be extraordinary. So she already knows. She's going to come begging, Ava says confidently. I know. And what will you do? That depends on the offer. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since last night, Claire, Robert, even my social climbing mother-in-law. I ignore them all. They haven't hit bottom yet. They're still clinging to the fantasy that Ethan, their Harvard genius, can save them. I'll wait. I'll wait until every illusion shatters. Until they finally understand that without me, they are nothing. 2 days later, Apex's legal team receives a cease and desist letter from Sutton Innovations accusing me of stealing trade secrets. It's laughable. Ava tosses it onto my desk, smirking. Is Claire insane? She's accusing you of stealing your own patents. She's desperate, I reply, barely glancing at it. Our lawyers will handle it, Ava says, sitting across from me. By the way, the Department of Defense Oversight Committee started their on-site inspection at Sutton today. I nod and open my laptop. I pull up a live feed from Sutton's factory security system, a system I installed myself. On the screen, stern-faced DoD officials walk the production line. The machines are idle. Ethan sweats as an official questions him. The man shakes his head and walks away. Robert Sutton's face is gray. Claire trails behind them, bowing, apologizing. Ignored completely. Looks like Ethan's bluff got called, I say, closing the laptop. They've got 3 days, Ava says. Missed the sample deadline, and the contract's terminated. Penalty clause triggers. Fraud charges are possible. Jail time, I murmur, sipping my coffee. The show's just starting. That night, Claire calls. Her voice is hoarse, exhausted. Leo, we need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. I'm begging you, she whispers. Where are you? I'll come to you. Where I am is none of your business, Miss Sutton. Leo, she snaps, then softens. Please. For the sake of our marriage. Marriage. I laugh. Didn't you already give my place to Ethan? Silence. You're getting revenge on me, she finally whispers. I'm taking back what's mine. What will it take, she asks. What will it take for you to give the patents back? I pause. An idea forms. There is a way, I say slowly. You remember how much I admired the presidential suite at the Meridian Grand. Her breath catches. She knows exactly what that means. You're disgusting, she whispers. Compared to the dignity you gave me at the gala, I reply lightly. This is quite gentlemanly. You have one night. If I don't see sincerity by morning, we'll meet in court. I hang up. Block her number. She'll come. She has no choice. The next evening, I arrive early at the Meridian Grand Presidential Suite. The city skyline glitters beyond the windows. I pour whiskey and wait. At exactly 10, the doorbell rings. It's Claire. Perfect makeup. Black silk gown. Designer handbag clenched so tightly her knuckles are white. Conflict. Humiliation. Anticipation. I step aside. She enters. The room is dim, intimate. Drink. I ask. No. I lift her chin. Have you made up your mind? She closes her eyes. I lean close. You really thought I wanted to touch you? She freezes. I step back, eyes cold. I wanted you to feel what it's like to be used. To be reduced to a bargaining chip. Her face drains white. She stumbles. You were playing with me? Playing with you? I smile. I lifted my glass and slowly swirled the amber liquid inside. You played me first, I said quietly. You turned 3 years of my love and hard work into a public spectacle. I'm just returning the favor. She opened her mouth, maybe to argue, maybe to plead. You want to save Sutton Innovations? I took a step toward her. In one smooth motion, I tipped the glass and poured every last drop of whiskey over her head. The cold liquid soaked through her hair, smeared her perfect makeup, and drenched the front of her expensive dress. The sharp scent of alcohol filled the air. She froze completely, as if the shock had knocked the breath out of her. All the fight drained from her face. Go on, I whispered, my voice low and venomous, meant for her ears alone. Go ask Ethan for help now. Go beg your Harvard genius to work his magic and save your precious family. Let's see if he's really the hero you think he is, or just a useless fraud who's good with theories and nothing else. No, please. Claire finally broke. She grabbed my arm desperately. Tears mixed with the whiskey as they ran down her face, leaving her in a pitiful, broken mess. Leo, I was wrong, she sobbed. I was so wrong. Please help me. Help the family. Too late. I pried her fingers off my arm and shoved her backward. She collapsed onto the floor. It was too late the moment you chose him. I looked down at her, without the slightest trace of pity. Get out. Before I change my mind and call security. Claire lay there in a heap, drenched and defeated, like a stray dog caught in a storm. Slowly, she looked up at me. Her eyes burned, not with remorse, but with pure, venomous hatred. Leo, she hissed, you will regret this. I swear I'll make you regret this. I didn't bother responding. I turned away and walked back toward the window, calmly admiring the city skyline. Behind me, I heard her scramble to her feet, stumble toward the door, and then the sharp slam as it shut. The smile on my face turned cold. Regret? The only one who should feel regret was her. Claire's humiliating exit did nothing to stop Sutton Innovations' collapse. The very next morning, the company's stock flatlined the second the market opened. Rumors exploded across Wall Street. Whispers that Sutton's defense contract was built on fraudulent technology, that catastrophic penalties were imminent. Robert Sutton panicked. He called in every favor he had, desperate to secure a meeting with the Department of Defense. Every single door was slammed in his face. Ethan, meanwhile, vanished. He stopped showing up at the office entirely, claiming he was working around the clock to solve the technical issues. In reality, only Claire was left, fighting a losing battle alone. She began frantically calling headhunters, trying to poach engineers from other major tech firms to build a replacement team. No one was stupid enough to bite. My technological fortress wasn't something you could breach by hiring a few engineers. It was a fully integrated system. Without the keystone, the entire structure was useless. Every top-tier engineer she contacted politely declined the moment they understood the details. By the final day of the DoD's 3-day deadline, Sutton Innovations had hit a dead end. That same day, Apex Dynamics held a major press conference. Ava Chun stood at the podium, bathed in the flashing lights of dozens of cameras, looking every bit the confident visionary leader. Today, she announced, I am thrilled to share that Apex Dynamics has appointed Mr. Leo Vance as our new Chief Technology Officer. The room erupted. Furthermore, she continued, Apex has entered into an exclusive patent licensing agreement with Mr. Vance. We will be leveraging his portfolio of over 100 core patents to launch a new initiative, codenamed Project Celestial. She paused, letting the impact settle. Project Celestial will focus on developing the next generation of intelligent industrial systems, technology that will surpass anything currently available on the market, both domestically and internationally. Her words hit the industry like a bombshell. Everyone understood what it meant. Apex wasn't just replacing Sutton. They were aiming for total domination. During the Q&A, a reporter stood and asked sharply, Ms. Chun, Mr. Vance's patents were previously licensed to Sutton Innovations. Given that Sutton is now facing a massive contractual crisis, isn't Apex taking advantage of their misfortune by hiring him at this exact moment? Ava smiled calmly and handed me the microphone. We planned for this, I said, stepping forward. First, there was no hiring away. It was Miss Claire Sutton, General Manager of Sutton Innovations, who personally signed my termination notice and kicked me out of the company. Murmurs rippled through the room. Second, regarding the patents, my agreement with Sutton was explicit. The license was contingent on my employment. Once that relationship was terminated, the license was automatically voided. That's basic contract law and basic business ethics. I paused, then added coolly, as for Sutton's current crisis, that is the direct result of catastrophic management decisions. It has nothing to do with me. They chose a so-called world-class talent to lead them. They should have trusted in his ability to deliver. My words were calm, precise, ironclad, and dripping with sarcasm. After the press conference, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. You win, Leo. You're ruthless. It was Claire. I smiled and deleted the message. This wasn't over. Not even close. The end came faster than I expected. The Department of Defense officially terminated Sutton's multi-billion-dollar contract and filed a lawsuit seeking more than $12 billion in damages and penalties. At the same time, the IRS and the SEC launched a joint investigation. They didn't take long to uncover a hornet's nest: tax evasion, financial fraud, and cookbooks. Robert Sutton's hair turned white almost overnight. The company's accounts were frozen. Factories shut down. Employees demanded back pay. Suppliers lined up to collect their debts. The once proud Sutton Innovations crumbled. Then came the final, fatal blow. Ethan Cole had disappeared, or so everyone thought. In a last desperate gamble, Claire and her father had liquidated everything they had and taken out high-interest loans, scraping together nearly $50 million. They handed it all to Ethan, claiming he would purchase alternative technology through an overseas contact. Instead, Ethan vanished with the money. Only later did the truth emerge. Claire found me one night in the underground parking garage beneath Apex Tower, stepping directly in front of my car. She looked like a ghost. She had lost so much weight she was almost skeletal. No makeup, sallow skin, eyes webbed with red veins. The glamorous, powerful woman I once knew was gone. "Leo, help me," she whispered. "No, help my family," she begged. Ethan took all the money and ran. The banks are calling in the loans. They're going to arrest my father. I sat in the driver's seat and rolled down the window, my expression blank. "Lend me some money," she said desperately. "Just $5 million, no 3. Just enough to buy time. I swear I'll pay you back double." "Claire," I said calmly, "your company owes mine $12 billion in damages." She froze. The last bit of color drained from her face. $3 million was nothing. A drop in an ocean of debt. "What am I supposed to do?" she sobbed, collapsing to the ground. "What do I do?" I felt nothing. She had made her choices. I started the engine. Wait. She threw herself in front of the car, arms spread wide, eyes wild like a trapped animal. "You hate me, right? You want revenge," she screamed. "If you save my family, I'll do anything. Anything. I'll go back to the hotel with you. I'll divorce Ethan. I'll marry you. I'll be your slave for the rest of my life." A sad, bitter humor washed over me. Even now, she still believed her body and marriage were her greatest bargaining chips. "Claire," I said quietly, looking at her twisted, desperate face, "you overestimate yourself. I got tired of your body a long time ago. And marriage to you? That's a liability I'd run from." I leaned back. "And as for being a slave, sorry. Apex Dynamics isn't hiring." I turned the wheel, drove around her, and sped out of the garage. In the rearview mirror, her figure shrank until she collapsed into a dark, motionless shape on the concrete. Days later, Robert Sutton was formally arrested, charged with contract fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. Sutton Innovations declared bankruptcy. During liquidation, court-appointed receivers uncovered the truth. The $50 million Ethan supposedly stole was never wired overseas. It had been funneled through shell corporations into a domestic private account, an account in Claire Sutton's name. It was all a scam. Ethan never planned to run. He and Claire had planned everything from the beginning. They intended to sacrifice the company and her father, then disappear together once the dust settled. They just underestimated law enforcement. The day before Claire could move the money, the FBI raided her home and arrested both her and Ethan. He had been hiding there the entire time. I saw the footage on the news. Claire and Ethan were let out in handcuffs. When she spotted the camera, her dead-eyed expression twisted into pure hatred. She screamed my name over and over. "Leo, I'll get you for this. I'll haunt you for my grave." I turned off the TV. Ava handed me a cup of tea. The aroma was warm and fragrant. Outside, the sun was shining. Months later, the verdict came in. Robert Sutton was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Claire Sutton and Ethan Cole each received 15 years. The Sutton dynasty was finished. Under my leadership, Project Celestial became a massive success. Apex Dynamics developed intelligent industrial robotics, at least 5 years ahead of any competitor. The Department of Defense was ecstatic. They not only transferred the original contract to us, they signed a $50 billion long-term partnership. Apex's market value soared past $100 billion. I stood on the rooftop of Apex Tower, looking out over the city I had fought my way back into. Ava joined me, handing me a glass of champagne. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "I was just thinking about what might have been," I said. "If Claire hadn't done what she did." "There are no what-ifs," Ava replied softly, clinking her glass against mine. "She chose her ending." She smiled. "What about you? What's next?" I looked at her in the sunlight, strong, intelligent, radiant. "Maybe it's time to think about my personal life again." A faint blush colored her cheeks. "Well," she said lightly, "the CTO of Apex is quite a catch. You shouldn't keep the market waiting." I took her hand. It was warm. And in that moment, I knew my real life, the one that truly belonged to me, was just beginning. Everything before this was smoke and ashes. And the woman named Claire Sutton, along with the bitter marriage we shared, would finally fade away, forgotten by history.